Okay,
Yes,
so let's see here. Number one, what do you think, or what is the subject here in this sentence?
The hairdresser.
The hairdresser, okay. The hairdresser, and also someone, because someone is the same as the hairdresser, right? We are talking about the same person. What about number two? What is the subject here in number two?
Everyone.
Everyone, right, is the subject. Very good. What about number three?
People.
People.
People. Very good. Number four?
Anyone.
You. Have you ever seen?
Okay, but we are talking about the subject of this verb.
Group of
A group.
Group of people.
Group of
Group
people.
of people.
Very good.
Yes.
Number five?
Anyone?
Anyone. Okay, very good. So we are going to check the difference between these subjects that we have here and the verbs that we use for them. Okay, so pay attention. Try to pay attention to these sentences too, so you can answer some questions, okay? Let's see. Okay, so today something that we are going to put in practice is subject and verb agreement. Okay, so what does it mean? That if we have a subject that is in the third person singular, we need a verb in singular, right? And if we have a subject that is not in the third person singular, we need the verb in plural. So we are going to do that. So here we have two sentences, and I want you to tell me which of these two what happened with these sentences. What is the mistake, or what can you see in these sentences? For example, my classmates studies a lot for this exam, and John's advices were really useful. Is there anything wrong in these sentences? Let's
The
start.
verb.
Okay, in the first one, the verb?
The first one is the verb because it's in third person and it has to be in plural. Classmates, it's a group, so it has to be my classmates study a lot for this exam.
Okay, so the sentence is incorrect, right? So how can we replace classmates with a personal pronoun? How can we replace classmates with a personal pronoun? They, right? Because we are talking about people and it's plural, right? So that's why this is a plural countable noun, right? Classmates. And the verb, of course, needs to be in plural, right? What about the second sentence? What is wrong about the second one? Any ideas? Is there anything wrong in the second?
No, I don't think so. John's advices is third person. So John's advices were really useful. I think it's okay.
Okay. What do you think, guys? Do you agree with your partner?
The S teacher.
Well,
Jones.
Why?
Why? That S means that those advices belong to him. He's the one who says.
Very good. Yes, it's possessive. The apostrophe is possessive, so it's okay, right? Anything else that you can notice here? Something that
that advice is uncountable.
Okay, so
the verb has to be in singular.
Very good. Yes, advice is a word that is uncountable, right? It's not a countable word, so we can't say advises, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So we can replace this with, how can we replace this with a personal pronoun?
His,
No, solo advice. How can we replace advice with a personal pronoun?
It.
It, right? Because it's singular and it's uncountable, right? So we can say it. This is an uncountable noun, right? We can't say advices. And
Yeah.
what about the verb? What is the correct verb? Was,
Was.
right? So we are talking about countable and uncountable nouns. So you have to be very careful with this, because when we have uncountable nouns, for example, advice, la oración correcta sería John's advice were really useful. Sorry, John's advice was really useful, right?
Okay. Mhm.
Because it's an uncountable noun. So we have to be very careful when we have nouns. We have to check if they are countable or uncountable. Okay, because with countable nouns, we can have plural and singular. Okay, and we have plural and singular verbs too. But with uncountable nouns, we don't have plural and singular verbs. Okay, and generally uncountable nouns don't go in the plural form. Okay, so be careful
Okay.
with this, and you need to have all the verbs according to the subject. In this case, advice. Okay, so this is the first rule: countable and uncountable nouns, and we need to agree the verb with the subject. Okay, very good. So when we have countable nouns, we can have singular and plural verbs. But when we have uncountable nouns, we just have singular verbs.
Singular.
Okay, we don't use plural verbs for uncountable. Okay, let's go to the next one. Indefinite pronouns. What are indefinite pronouns? Do you know any indefinite pronouns?
Some?
Some, not exactly. This is a
Not exactly.
qualifier.
Mm.
In your sentences here in exercise number 5, do you have any indefinite?
anyone,
Anyone, very good. Any other? Any other?
Everyone.
Everyone, very good. Any other?
Someone.
Someone could be an indefinite pronoun. Any other indefinite pronoun that you remember? Anyone, everyone, someone,
Anything, no one, people,
anything, no one, nobody, anybody, all these or somebody. These are indefinite pronouns, okay? Because we are not talking about a specific person, okay? It's indefinite, okay? We are not talking about someone in specific. Okay, so here we have two sentences, two questions. Does anyone have a pencil to lend? Do anyone have a pencil to lend? Which of these do you think is correct? Which is the correct one?
I think the first teacher does
Why?
any have a pencil to learn
Mm-hmm.
because anyone is I think is more plural. I don't think it's singular.
But this is singular or plural?
Plural.
Mm,
It's singular.
it's singular. We are using this for, we use this for the third person singular, right? What do you think, guys? Which of these sentences is correct? Check your examples here in the book, exercise number 5. What do you think? Which could be the correct one?
One teacher,
First,
Why?
Yes.
because it's three person. The subject
It's
sería
an
it.
uncountable.
Okay. Yes, could be. Okay, yes. The first one is the correct sentence. Okay. When we have indefinite pronouns, like for example, anyone, we use the verb in the singular form, like for the third person singular. So the auxiliary verbs too are for the third person singular. Okay, so this is the correct and the second one is incorrect, right? What about number two? Example number two. Someone were following you. Someone was following you. Which is the correct?
The second one, someone was following you.
Very good, because we are using a singular verb,
Singular.
right? So remember, when we have any of these indefinite pronouns, someone, anyone, one, no one, everyone, the same with nobody, anybody, anything, all these are with singular verbs. All of them are used with singular verbs, okay? So be careful with this, indefinite pronouns. Let's go to the next one. Then we have collective nouns. Okay, we are going to learn what is a collective noun. What do you think is a collective noun? Do you have any ideas of what is this? What could be? Collective noun. People, okay. Yes, could be. Anything else? No? Okay, pay attention to this. A collective noun is the word used to represent a group of people, a group of animals, or a group of things. So this is collective, okay? It's a group. So we can have, as we saw before, collective nouns for people, for animals, or for things, okay? So I want you to tell me, what collective noun do you think we can use here for this group of people?
Family.
Family.
Family, right? Very good, family. What about this one? Group of,
pets, pets,
again,
pets,
could be pet, yes, or
Puppies.
pets.
Puppies.
Puppies.
Puppies could be. Specifically, we use here a little of puppies. What is this? How can we say this in Spanish? Where, for example, these are animals that were recently born.
Una camada.
Yes, very good. Una camada de cachorros, ¿cierto? We can use this for cats too. A litter of kittens, right? What about the other one?
Forest.
Forest, right? It's a group of trees. Forest, right? Very good. As you can see, we can have collective nouns for family, animals, and we can have these two for things or objects, okay? So let's go to the next part. Do we use singular or plural verbs with collective nouns? What do you think? I want you to check your examples here in the book, exercise number 5. Is there any collective noun here?
Number 4,
Number 4, which one?
group of people.
Group of people. Yes, this is a collective noun, right? So what do you think, guys? Do we use singular or plural verbs with collective nouns?
I think that singular, teacher.
Okay, yes.
Wishes.
Okay, we have to be very careful with collective nouns because we can use both. Okay, yes. You should treat collective nouns as a singular or plural, depending of the sense of your sentence. Okay, so here we have an example. The choir is out of tune, and the choir were fainting due to the heat. So as you can see, we have exactly the same subject here, but we have singular and we have plural verb, right? What is the difference? Okay, that in this first sentence, we are talking about these people as a group. Okay, we are talking and they are doing this activity as a group. So that's why we use a singular verb. But in the second one, we are not talking about this group of people as a group. We are talking about them as individuals. Okay, so, but generally we talk about these collective nouns. We use the singular verb for collective nouns. But in special occasions, when you want to specify something, we can use plural verbs. For example, if you don't feel confident or you don't feel comfortable using where in a collective noun, you can use this. The members of the choir were fainting due to the heat. Okay, so you can use members of something. If you don't feel comfortable using plural for collective nouns. The same here, for example, in number 4, we have group of people. Okay, so it says that as a general rule, we should treat collective nouns as singulars unless you have a good reason for treating it as plural. Okay, so generally collective nouns, they go with singular verbs. But if we have a good reason to use plural, we need to use it. Okay, so we can have both plural or singular. Okay, let's go to the next one. Then we have asides. Okay, asides is a comment in a sentence. Okay, if you have an aside, you have a comment in a sentence. So here I'm going to show you some sentences and I want you to tell me what is the comment here. Okay, first one, our neighbor Sarah, in addition to her parents, is a doctor. Lucas, as well as his brother, like playing soccer. Which do you think is the comment in these two sentences? In the first one, for example, what could be the comment?
In addition
Again, please. In addition to her parents?
to her parents, yes.
Yes, very good. This is a comment. In addition to her parents, because normally we can say our neighbor Sarah is a doctor. But this is
Yes.
a comment that we are making, right? The same here. Lucas, as well as his brothers, like playing soccer. So this is a
And
comment.
if you notice, excuse me, teacher, and if you notice, it's between two commas.
Yes, very good. So these comments generally go in the middle of the sentence, okay? And of course, between commas, right? Very good. So generally, we have these kind of asides. For example, and the verb doesn't match or doesn't agree with the subject that we have here in the comment, with the subject that we have in the aside. Okay, the verb agrees with the subject of the sentence. Okay, the same here. We have likes, and it doesn't agree with brothers, right? It agrees with Lucas, that is the subject of our sentence. So I want you to be very careful with this. If you have asides or an aside in a sentence, you don't have to agree the verb with the subject of this aside or with the person that we have in this aside, but we have to agree this verb with the subject of the sentence. Okay, so be very careful with this. Asides often begin with inclusive phrases. Okay, for example, as well, in addition, aside from, apart from, these are some inclusive sentences that you are going to find at the beginning of these asides. Okay, so remember to agree the subject with the verb of the, sorry, the verb with the subject of the sentence. Okay, any questions about this? So we learned different ways in which we can agree subject with verbs, right? The first one was, do you remember the first one? The first exercise we did?
Indefinitely.
Again, please.
Indefinite pronouns.
Okay, we have indefinite pronouns. What happened with indefinite pronouns? What kind of verb we need to use this in these sentences with indefinite pronouns?
Singular verbs.
Singular verbs, very good. Any other?
Collective nouns.
Collective nouns. What kind of verbs can we use with collective nouns?
Usually singular.
Singular or
Yes,
plural depending the sense of the
sentence, right? Very good. Any other? What else did we learn?
Countables and countables. No.
Countable and uncountable nouns. How can we use the verbs with countables and uncountables?
Countables with singular and countable singular and plural form.
Very good. We use countable nouns with plural and singular, and uncountable with just with singular verbs, right? And then we have the asides. That the asides needs to agree with the subject of the sentence. Okay, very good. So let's do some exercises here in your book to practice. Let's go to page 118. Here we have some exercises, okay? Here you have exactly the same information from the explanation: countable and uncountable nouns, indefinite pronouns, collective nouns, and asides. Okay, so the same. If you want to have some, I don't know, if you want to have a guide, you can read this while we do the exercises, okay? Number 1. Choose the correct options to complete the sentences. Okay. Number 1. Some of the information very helpful.
Was.
Why? Why was?
Because it's not talking about all the information. It's it's an uncountable.
Very good. It's uncountable. Information is uncountable. We don't say one information, two informations, right?
Yes.
It's uncountable. Very good. Number 2. Everyone always stands or stand near the door when I try to get to the train.
stand.
Sounds.
Stands, right? Be careful to pronounce well the S, especially here in Zoom, because sometimes the S, we can't listen to the S. I don't know why. Okay, so why do we use stands? Why?
Because everyone is indefinite pronoun.
Very good. Everyone is an indefinite pronoun. Very good. My boyfriend, as well as my friends, thinks or think people don't have any manners.
Thinks.
Things.
Why?
Because
It's an
subject
aside.
is the person.
The subject is the third person, my boyfriend, right? This is
And
an,
there's an aside, and also there's an aside, right?
yes, but we have to agree the verb with the subject
Yes.
of the sentence. Very good. Number 4. Only one of us doesn't or don't have any pet peeves.
doesn't,
Why?
because one is a indefinite pronoun.
Very good. One is an indefinite pronoun. Number 5. In American English, we say my family get together every weekend. Which one?
Gets,
It's
Why?
because it's an uncountable.
We can say one family,
My
two
family.
families, 3 families.
collective nouns.
It's a collective noun.
A collective.
Very good. This is a collective noun. My family.
Collective, yes.
Number 6. Some of my decisions has or have turned out okay.
Have,
Why?
because is plural.
It's a plural countable noun. We can say 1 decision, 2 decisions, 3 decisions, right? Yes, very good.
Right.
Number 7. The police believes or believe that 2 people were involved in the robbery.
Believes,
Why?
it's a company noun. It's a,
Company?
no, sorry. Collective noun.
Collective.
Very good. It's a collective noun because we have a group of people here in police, right? What about the last one? The stores are, apart from one, are very expensive.
Are,
Why?
because is plural.
We are talking about what?
Stores.
Stores, right? Stores is our subject, and that's why it's plural, right? Very good. Any questions about this? I guess you could understand very well. Very good. So let's go to the next one. Exercise number 3. We are going to do 3, okay? Read the text and correct the 8 mistakes. What do you think about this one? One of my pet peeves are tattoos. What do you think about this? Do we have any mistakes until here? No?
The verb teacher,
Why?
because is it has to be in singular.
Why?
Because it's indefinite noun.
Indefinite pronoun? Okay, yes. Here we have is. We don't need to say are because we have an indefinite pronoun here, right? 1. Okay,
Teacher,
let's.
what is peeves?
Pet peeves. Esto es algo que vimos en la anterior clase. What is pet peeves? Do you remember, guys? What is pet peeves?
It's something that you dislike.
Something that you dislike or something that annoys you, right?
Or bothers?
Or
Can we
bothers
use
you.
bothers?
Yes, something that bothers you. What about the next one? Almost everyone I know think tattoos are really beautiful, but I think they are ugly.
Thing must be in third person. Things.
Why?
Because almost it's a collective noun. No, everyone.
Everyone is
No. It's indefinite pronoun.
indefinite pronoun. Very good. Very good. Yes. So here we need to try things. Right? Very good. The next part. and tattooed skin are much nicer. Anything here?
Sería is
Why?
because is singular. Skin is singular.
It's singular, right? Yes. So we need to say, and we are taking skin as a group, right?
Yes.
And tattooed skin. So it could be a collective, right? So is much nicer. Some of my friends, as well as my sister, has wanted to have their tattoos removed, but the process are expensive and not always successful. Anything here?
Teacher,
Sería
As,
Okay, why?
because some of my friends, it's a collective pronoun, and it must be in plural. The verb.
Okay, is I don't know if it is a collective. You can say that this is, well, yes, could be, but plural is a plural countable noun, right? Friends, plural, and it's countable. We can say one friend or 10 friends.
Yes.
So have. What about, is there any other mistakes?
The
Teacher,
process is expensive.
Okay, why?
because it's a noun.
And it's one process.
Yes, we're talking about
Right now
one
it's
process.
talking about one process.
Yes. What about the next part? No one think about this though in advance.
thinks. Sorry,
Okay, why?
because it's an uncountable noun.
Very good. Yes, of course. Things. No, it's not an uncountable noun. What is this?
Indefinite pronoun.
Indefinite pronoun, right?
That sorry.
Okay, no problem. One of my friends really don't want his tattoo with his ex-girlfriend's name anymore.
Doesn't.
Doesn't. Why?
Yes.
Because it's singular.
It's a singular?
Yes,
One.
it's one of them.
Okay, so what is this? One?
Indefinite pronoun.
Indefinite pronoun, right? Very good. What about the next part? Everyone needs to think carefully before getting a tattoo.
Maybe everyone needs because
Needs.
it's an indefinite pronoun.
Very good. Yes, it's an indefinite pronoun, so we need to say needs. Right? Very good. Good job. So I want you to do exercise number 2 at home. And if you have questions, you can ask next class, okay?